What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday.
Very strange battery.
It returns. Here's I forgot to talk about the Prototype 5 Maiden. Here's the Maiden of the Prototype 5. I'll give this to you guys. I totally forgot.
It's alright. Ooh, that prop is jacked.
I can tell because of the purple up in the corners. It's a side load mount. Oh wait, no, here we go. Wait, now let me make sure. Hold on.
5143's F40 Pro 4.
Hold on.
Battery 2, 5143's F40 Pro 4's 2400 kV 6S, 75% motor output on a Ovonic 1000.
Yeah, there's a Prototype 5. Because I've got it on the 2400 kV F40 Pro 4s. Yeah, so here you guys go. Here's some of the... oh, this is pretty short. Why is this so short? Why is this so short? All right, here's the next What? What's that all about? Here's the next battery of the Maiden. Why is it only 230 megabytes?
Battery 2, 5143s, F40 Pro 4s.
Did I crash that quick?
6S.
I was trying to crash it. It held up well. That's the same battery. Oh, I see what's going on. I keep hitting the keystroke button, and then it zips down to the bottom. 25, 26, 27, 28. Here you go. Here we go. Yeah.
With the fact that it's a tiny whoop is kind of annoying, but
pretty safe tune on it. My starting point, like with any Maiden, I always kind of just go like 5 or 10 points over stock. Sometimes I end up leaving it there. I like having a safe tune that I can really pound on the motors and propellers, and just keep flying more and more and more and more. So yeah, not bad. The frame held up really well. I'm going to show it to you in a second after this battery is done. This is also my first time flying this spot, so I was doing a little bit of exploring here. Yeah, it's good. I'm not gonna switch over to it until I go digital, and then I still might not, but I might. You never know. But yeah, it flies really good. Like I always say, not always, but like I've been saying recently, frames are now good enough where it's more quality of life stuff. How good is the motor protection? Do you like the person that's making it? What's it cost? Stuff like that. Pretty much all the frames nowadays fly exactly the same because they're all really good. We're not really going to have this situation where it's like, oh, what's the best frame? Like, there is no best frame. There's just different frames. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing that, that we're getting to that point. Might not seem like it, but it is. Mixing some of these propellers up here. Getting a little organized. As soon as I'm done flying here, I'm gonna get caught up on the chat. So anybody that's tagged me, just give me another minute or two. No jello, no nonsense. I mean, there wouldn't be. This isn't a totally fresh setup. This is the electronics and motors from the Moon Goat, and I beat them pretty good on the Moon Goat. So yeah, not like not an absolutely fresh build or anything like that. But still really clean motors. Probably 20 batteries deep into these motors. There we go. So yeah, Prototype 5, that's the Prototype 5 Adventure. I might fly it once more, or not. I might, I think this electronics package is going to go into a glide that I permanently leave the dead cat arms on, so I don't have to keep swapping back and forth. So yeah, I think I'm going to pull this electronics package out of here. I mean, on one hand, I feel like I should fly it some more, but I don't really know why. Like, I don't... I mean, the whole, like, I don't really think we need to, like, I feel like when a new frame comes out, like, it makes sense to build it because you learn a lot of stuff when you're building the frame. And, like, I guess you might as well fly it to make sure it doesn't fly bad, but, like, none of them fly bad. So it's kind of just, like, I feel like we can just kind of take off and make sure it doesn't skyrocket to the moon and then just be like, okay, it's a good frame. And then sort of... But by that point, you'll know whether you want to run it or not. One of my main confusing bits about this frame is the battery slots up here. These are too far forward. I don't have a single battery that I could use those battery slots with. So I had to do 2 battery straps on the rear slot, which is okay. It's fine. But the Glide has the battery slots spaced out better. So yeah. Other than that, though, it was pretty. Yeah, it held up. I crashed it a bunch. I banged up the front. I banged up the front arms pretty good on a bunch of the crashes. So I mean, I put some abuse into it, and it absolutely held up fine, as I knew it would. Smacked the chin a couple times. So yeah, like, I beat it up. I beat it up for you guys. And yeah, it held up totally fine, just like I knew it would. Yeah, it's a great frame, especially if you're on digital. If you're on analog, I would go with the Glide for sure. If you're on digital, I don't know which direction I would tell you to go, to be honest. I'm still not the biggest fan of vertical camera plates. I just don't like them. I don't like that it forces you to run a static standoff height. You can't change the height of the standoffs. But it's not that bad. Yeah, I don't know. This will definitely deal with vibrations a little bit better than the Glide because it's a much newer frame. So that's good, but the Glide handles vibrations totally fine. So it's like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better, but I kind of don't care about that. Like, I can get my tune plenty locked in with plenty of headroom on the Glide. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit better, and it'll give you a little bit more headroom. But the Glide has the dead cat arms. The Glide is not vertical stand. I will say this: if you're definitely going to go with, so here's the other thing about this frame, right? These front vertical camera plates are 20 millimeters apart. So if you run any camera other than the DJI camera, it's gonna pull half a millimeter. It's gonna pull the threads out by half a millimeter on each side. So if you're not gonna run the DJI camera, I would maybe say go with the Glide. For all the reasons that I always talk about. But if you are going to run the DJI camera, yeah, this is going to give you a little bit more headroom because it's going to deal with vibes a little bit better. But it's really, really slight differences. I mean, they both cost the same. And you can't go wrong with either one. I mean, you could get either one, and you're going to be totally happy with them. So yeah, close your eyes and point, because just pick one. Just pick one and stay with it. Don't get them both. Pick one, make the decision, and just fly that frame. Because buying them both is silly. You can't parts share. There are going to be slight differences that are just annoying, so yeah, don't play this game where you buy each one and try to decide which one is going to be best for you. You're not going to notice the difference between the two of them. In the chat, Mark A was here first, Riot9, Obese Quads, Jackalope FPV, Brandon Bentley, Zach Silvestri, License to Drive, Spudnik, Doc DQ, License to Drive again, Bad Habit RC, Ben Warner, Zach Silvestri, Hitomi FPV, Obese Quads again, Tiberius, Zach Silvestri, Metal Durskin, Athix FPV, Chomper FPV, B-Man, Ripper FPV, Drone Pilot, Chomper again, Athix, Mark A again, Obese Quad, Spudnik, Drone Pilot, Athix. Alright, I think I got everybody. Mark A started us off with a bunch of questions. Glide frame, top plate, looking from front, the frame top down, between the first two, lots of standoff holds. There are some other holes not for standoffs. What are they for? If it's the new glide that you've got, Mark, it's for the new style of TPU mount that Bob is doing. So yeah, you don't have to use those extra holes, but if you get the new gen of TPU, which I actually don't like as much. I prefer the old school TPU and the front load mount from BMC 3D, which uses the standoff holes. So for me, yeah, I don't use those extra two holes there. Oh yeah, looks like you were already there. I was thinking GoPro holes with nutserts. Yep, that's it. Riot9 says turn the lights on. I actually remember today. B-Man says, what's up? I did not ship the shirt out yet. No, I have to build the entire quad, so it's going to take some time. Joan Pot saying, hey, Athix saying, what rig is this? Mark A says, glide frame works really well with the Vista. It does, yeah, that's why, like, it's like, oh, well, if you're digital, get the Prototype 5, but not really. I mean, you don't really need to. I guess maybe, oh, you know what? I bet you the rear of this is big enough for the air unit. So I guess if you want to use the air unit, you should get the Prototype 5 because there's no way to fit the air unit in the glide. So there you go. That's the person that gets the Prototype 5 for sure, is the person that is looking to run the air unit. Which I feel like the air unit is kind of, I feel like most people are kind of moving away from it. But I'm sure there's a couple diehards still out there. God damn it. Sly Robocop Gaming says, I just bought an air unit from the guy that created FPV Exchange. Very cool. That is Nevin. He is super, super cool. B-Man says, I run digital on the glide and it's freaking banging. Obese Quad says, glide is more available. I didn't think of that. Drone Pilot says, I landed yesterday and flipped at the sandy grass. As it flipped, it ripped the wires of the crossfire and went into failsafe and was doing a lawn mowing move on the grass. Oh god, what a nightmare. Only for 1 second, luckily. Metal Dirtskin says, the Prototype 5 is squashed X, right? Motors closer front to back. I didn't think so. It certainly looks like it because of the angle of the arms, but I don't think that it actually is. We will check it against the glide, though, in 1 second here. Just put these V2S's away here. And... alright, let's check that. I'll be damned. It is. It might not be. It might not be. Wait, glide is in my right hand. This is a stupid way of doing it. Just put it on the goddamn scale, you lunatic. So the glide is roughly... left to right, it's roughly 17 centimeters. And it's a true X, so it should be the same front to back. Sure enough. And then the prototype 5 is roughly 18 and a bit. 18 and a bit left to right. Oh, wow, yeah. Oh, wow, it's very squished X. 14 and a bit front to back. Wow, okay, interesting. Did not realize that. Yeah, you can totally see it. Sometimes the angle of the arms, though, like if the arms aren't in an X configuration. Interesting. Huh. Well, there's another reason that I like the glide. True X has more mechanical torque on the pitch axis, and that's better for flight dynamics. Again, this frame is great, but I'm going to be sticking with the glide for all the reasons that I always talk about. I feel like a broken record when I talk about the glide, so I try to not go through the list of things I love about it every single stream. Good call, Metal. Mark A says, I think it's better to use the standoff holes as you can get set the Session 5 back towards the center more, better CG and protection. Yeah, it will move it back, which is better for the CG, but it's worse for props in view. So, pluses. Oh god, I almost threw up. Pluses and minuses. Tiago's in the house. He says, Joshua read me comment about FPV Exchange on the news. Lobbying for FPV Exchange now. I can enter the giveaway. Very cool, Tiago. You're in. Hawk FPV says, what are good motors for 3-inch 2S KV? It really depends, Hawk. It depends on what the build is going to be. It mainly depends on the all-up weight. So, like, for a toothpick, you're not going to need a ton of KV. But for something that's, 100 plus grams, you're going to want more KV. Best bet is just to kind of like look for other people that have done a similar build to what you're looking for and just look at what their KV is. Hopefully they'll even have a little bit of flight footage, and then you can just base it off of that. If their flight footage doesn't have enough horsepower, you want higher KV. If it has too much horsepower, you want a little bit less KV. So yeah, it's pretty build specific. 3-inch 2S. Although in theory, I mean, I can't imagine a 3-inch 2S build that's not a toothpick. So if we look at what Bob sells, that's going to be the best sort of indication. So what KV? So there you go, 7,700 KV is what Bob is making for 2S. So somewhere around 7,500 KV is going to be a really good number for you if you're building something lightweight. If it's going to be heavier than a toothpick, then just boost the KV up. It's always safer to buy higher KV than lower because higher KV you can always motor limit down. So if you want to be safe, buy like 10,000 KV motors, and then you could just motor limit them down. Bad Habit RC says Amazon has Beta 85X with Caddx Vista for $210. Good deal, in my opinion. That is a good deal. I personally have not found a situation where the Beta 85X makes much sense to fly. But I mean, that is a good deal. I just can't find a setting where that rig makes any sense. The smaller tiny whoops do better in really small spots and indoors, and then 3-inch rigs do a lot better in a little bit bigger spots. So that's sort of always been the problem with 2-inch propeller rigs, which is what the Beta 85X is. 2-inch propellers suffer from the lack of efficiency that tiny whoop propellers do, but they're not small enough compared to 2.5-inch and 3-inch to really justify, like, ooh, I can fit through a smaller gap with this. So they're kind of, the 2-inch is similar to 4-inch, in that like it's sort of in between, and it's just like it tends to be like, hey, look at this 2-inch that I built. Oh, cool. What do you use it for? Nothing. Like there's just not like, yeah. You could make a case for it being a good naked GoPro carrier, but that's about it. I've got like 10 plus hours tied up in my 85X build, and I think I've flown it once. No, I've flown it twice. The first time I flew it was at a gig, and it was too heavy, and it just wasn't good. And then I tried flying it in a bigger spot, and it was too slow and too small and too inefficient. And I haven't flown it since. So maybe once I get a naked GoPro, maybe then I'll start flying it again. But there's a huge increase in efficiency when you go from a 2-inch propeller to a 2.5-inch propeller. So when I eventually do get a naked GoPro, I'll probably put it on a 2.5-inch rig to take advantage of the extra efficiency that you naturally get from the 2.5-inch propellers. Basically, the propeller blades are far enough apart on a 2.5-inch propeller that when each blade comes around and puts a bunch of turbulence off the end of the tip of the blade, a 2.5-inch propeller is the first size where that turbulence has a chance to dissipate before that next blade comes around. 2-inch, 1.6-inch, 1.2-inch propellers, the blades of each one of the propellers are so close that turbulence doesn't have a chance to dissipate before the next blade comes through, and that just kills efficiency. So 2-inch is like the biggest prop size that suffers pretty badly from that. So yeah, it falls into this weird area, which is kind of a shame because it's a nice round number. 2.5 is an annoying number. Athix says the 85X is like the oddball. I really like my 95X, just don't fly it due to not having a reason to. Yeah, the 85X, the 95X, those rigs, like they were very flavor of the week for a little bit there. Much similar to the way that 4-inch is right now, right? But there's just not like a logical of a payload, right? Like the HD cameras that we have, the payloads that we have to carry, can be carried by the smaller rigs that are like full-blown safer and a lot lighter, or by the heavier rigs. And it's a shame. I used to have a 2-inch rig in the Rotorius LB97 frame that flew really, really good. But then I built a 2.5-inch rig, and my run times went like through the roof. The amount of power that I was able to make went through the roof, and the weight only went up by a little bit. So it was like, what do I do here? But I don't know. There is something to be said for if you're gonna fly inside, like if you're gonna fly a naked GoPro inside. There's definitely something to be said for pinching every last gram. So that is what a 2-inch is going to be able to do that a 2.5-inch is not going to be able to do. You can probably save at least 10 grams, maybe 15 grams on a 2-inch rig rather than a 2.5-inch ducted rig. So yeah, I'm hoping that is true because I would love to use that 85X. Because my God, is it a pretty build? But yeah, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to jump straight into Whoop stuff, or do you want to see me finish this Acrobrat? I can probably finish up this Acrobrat in like 15 minutes. Type Whoop if you want me to dive straight into Whoop stuff. Type Acrobrat if you want to watch me finish the Acrobrat. I've got all night. I took like a 3-hour nap today after therapy because it just kicked my ass. So this is going to be a late one. This is going to go till like probably 2 a.m. So yeah, let me know. How Jay says, do you have any recommendations for a 31mm prop motor C with an all-up weight of 40 grams running 2S? What's 31mm? Is that 1.6 inches? 31mm in inches. Oh, that's 1.2 inches. Okay, so that's a wee little tiny whoop. Recommendations for a 31mm prop motor C with an all-up weight of 40 grams running 2S. 2S on the 1.2 inch propeller whoops is a little tough. In my opinion, 1S is for the record. In my opinion, 1S is a better choice for a the smallest of the tiny whoops, just to just bring the weight down. That being said, my preferred motor on these guys is the 0802 25,000 kV Happy Model motor. If you're stuck on 2S or if you're hell-bent on 2S, you're going to want at least that amount of kV, but cut in half. So let's call it 2400 to 12,000 kV. So you're going to want bare minimum 13,000 kV rather. I would probably go with like 14 or 15,000 kV though, and then just motor limit it down a little bit. How Jay says, trying a naked Vista build for indoor training. Should I move up to 40 millimeters? Vista weighs naked. What's the naked Vista weigh? What's that? What's that weigh? Oh, you're on 0803 13,000s. Just stay on those. Well, what's wrong with those? Why do you? What don't you like about those motors? So the payload is roughly 7 grams. No, there's no reason to. There's no real need to. Well, it depends. When you say indoor training, what's that mean? Like, what are you training for? Are you training for cinematic work? Are you training for racing? You're training for freestyle. What'd you guys type? We got 1 whoop, 2 acrobrats. We've got a sausage, an X-Class, a brat, a donut, an X-Jet. Okay, so two acrobrat votes beat 1 whoop vote. So we're gonna finish up the acrobrat. Somatic stripped his first GoPro last night. Can't believe how easy it was. I was terrified. That's good to hear, Somatic, because I have a Hero 6 that I don't know what the hell to do with, and I keep thinking about pulling it apart. Chris Croft says, I wish I could get one of those Insta360 Go mounts with paying $21 for shipping to Australia. Jesus. Yeah, that's not worth it, Chris. Freestyle and light acro. Yeah, I mean, you probably do want to move up to a 75. But those motors, then you're going to have to buy new motors. Yeah, I mean, see, this is what I hate about DJI, is there's not a great solution for tiny whoops. The best... Yeah, you're going to really need to go up to to get... For it to make any sense, and actually have any analog whatsoever to real freestyle and light acro, you got to go up to a 75mm frame. So jump onto Newbie Drone, get the 75, the Cockroach 75 frame. That's the only one to get, and then transplant into that. And then the motors that you're going to want are 1102. You're on 2S, so you'll be fine. There's only 2 different 1102 motors. There's a Happy Model and there's a Beta FPV. I haven't tested both of them yet, but that will be coming soon. That's something that we're gonna start to dive into after once we get to the tiny hoop stuff here tonight. All right, let me knock out this Acrobrat build to satisfy the completionists among us, and then we'll dive into Tiny Whoop Land. So let me finish just plopping these motors on here. B8 motors on here. Why is this so long? That's never what she said. Wait, there we go. All is right with the world. I don't need the MIP driver. Okay. So we're gonna bolt on these motors, and then I think I can pretty much just slam the side plates on, throw a couple of zip ties on the LED race wires, and mount the camera, and I think that's kind of it. I think that's really all we need for this thing to be airworthy again, which is a good thing. Unbelievable how long it takes to swap the base plate on a rig. Really drives me crazy, but that's the deal. That's the punishment for flying really hard, basically. All right, so yeah, this is my Acrobrat Duo. I've been flying Acrobrats for over 2 years. I was one of Tommy's prototype testers on the V1 Acrobrat. So I have a good amount of experience in how to build these things, what are the right components, what are the right motors, stuff like that. And this is the best combo that I've been able to find, which is the iFlight Success 3S to 6S 20x20 ESC Talon F7 MPU 6000 flight controller, RunCam hybrid, and whatever the hell receiver in VTX you want. And most importantly, Xnova 1804 3500 kV motors. All up weight with a 4S 850 is like 265, maybe 270 grams if I remember correctly. The propellers that you want to run on these motors are the T-Motor 3140s. There's nothing else that even comes remotely close to how good those propellers are. And that's about it, I think. I think that if there's any other questions, just let me know. But I think those are pretty much all the particulars. Okay, so we need to put a couple of spacers. This is the biggest pain in the ass part of this build. The side plates are 20 millimeters wide, but the camera is only 19 millimeters wide. So if you don't put a little spacer here, it kind of pulls outwards on the camera, and I don't like that. I don't remember which way this camera was mounted. God damn it. I'm gonna go back and watch the stream where I pulled it apart. Because sometimes I'm an intelligent person. Joshua Bardwell! What a dick. What a beautiful dick that man is. Joshua Bardwell with a $5 super chat. He says, your mom is an Acrobrat. What a dick. That's the greatest comment anyone has ever left on one of my videos. Joshua, stay for a while. What are you doing? Doing anything fun? Adam Doyle says, CiottiFPV, giving this away? Not a chance, Adam. Not a chance. This is mine. I only give away rigs that I don't want. Which sounds terrible, but, I mean, you're not going to meet anybody on YouTube doing giveaways, giving away things that they do want to keep. It's just sort of the way it works. Where did we pull the Acrobrat apart? It was Micro Monday. Replacing smoked carbon plates on my Shocker 4-inch. Oh boy. Somehow a wire came loose and made electricity go where it shouldn't. Dead flight controller, smoked carbon. Jesus. That sounds like a barrel of laughs. Joshua, have you found a logical use for the 4-inch rigs yet? I've been talking a lot on these streams about how, like, in my opinion at least, they just kind of don't really. There's not an HD camera that. So like 3-inch rigs will pick up a camera up to like 20 grams, right? And then 5-inch rigs will pick up for freestyle, yeah, for freestyle. And then 5-inch rigs will pick up 80 to 120 gram cameras, right? So like if we had like a camera that was like 40 to 70 grams, right, an HD cam, I feel like 4-inch would make a lot of sense for freestyle, but we don't. So like the only real use for 4-inch that I can wrap my head around is long range, is like a cheap, lightweight long range rig, right? I don't understand it for, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, they fly great, but it just, yeah, I just can't wrap my head around a good use for it, other than just like I have to know what a 4-inch rig flies like, and that's why I built one, and I was kind of disappointed because it flew like a rig that had bigger propellers than 3-inch and smaller than 4-inch. So it was just sort of like, oh, well, of course. So I'm watching my own stream to see if I can figure out how the hell I had the camera mounted on the Acrobrat. Come on. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh my god, really? I took it apart when it wasn't on camera. I could probably tell by the logo, though. Hold on. Okay, so the run... Ooh, 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 ooh. The RunCam logo is on the side. Is on the right side of the top lens. Aha! Okay, good to go. It goes like that. Cool. That's how I thought it should be mounted. So that's really good. All right, cool. Joshua says lighter than 5-inch, so it crashes better in my opinion. It's got a little bit more flingability than 3-inch, so you don't quite feel like you're flying a micro. So I kind of had not the opposite, but I felt like because the propellers were bigger, but it didn't weigh much more than my 3-inch rigs, I felt like when I went to fling it, it slowed down quicker because the bigger props or a bigger parachute or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that was because I thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be heavier. I think it needs more weight, basically. I think that the 4-inch rigs should be like 350 grams, like maybe 400 grams even. I guess you could just put a big old battery on there. But when I want to just go out and rip and not stress, I pull out the Shocker 4-inch every time. Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. But see, for me, that's the I could say the exact same thing about the oh, here. I got to show you something, Joshua. Look at this flight footage from some 3-inch rigs. Check this out. You're going to love my nuts. From the stables. Tell me this isn't this is onboard RunCam hybrid, 210 gram all up weight 3-inch rig at a spot that you'll recognize. This is what these are the BQE Ripsqueak builds. I mean, they're basically a clone of the builds that I was flying at Quad Camp when we first met. But like, look at this thing. I don't understand why my computer can't handle this. So ignore the 10 frames a second that this 12-year-old computer is only able to deal with. But just like in terms of flight characteristics, like what you're saying about the 4-inch rig is exactly the way that I feel about these Ripsqueak rigs. I just need to get the RunCam hybrid dialed in a little bit. I want to try to figure out if I can lock the shutter a little bit, because when it looks up into the although the sun was pretty high, they do get a lot better in during golden hour. But yeah, these Ripsqueak rigs, this is the one that's on 1306 motors. The other one is on those Brother Hobby 1504.5s, and it flies even nicer than this, but like, not that we can tell, because I'm gonna light this goddamn computer on fire and just dance around its burning corpse. But yeah, like with the 3-inch rigs flying like this, I'm just kind of like, well, and I mean that's, let me see if I can find a full throttle blast for you. Because my god, do they have some power. This is the one that's on the 1504.5s. I think I might have done a big full throttle punch up over the trees. Yeah, there you go. There's a little tiny throttle punch. Ugh. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of audio so that you could hear when it was full throttle. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying. Have you flown 2004 or only like 1404? So on the 4-inch rig in the 4-inch motion drift edit, that was on 1804 3500s, and those were a little bit too small. I then moved it over to the Brother Hobby VY 2004s that I have on the Cinesplore now, and they felt much better on the Gemfan 4023, I think, is the tri-blade. The 1804s would have been okay on the bi-blades, but I'm not into the bi-blade thing. 2004, I mean, at least 20mm wide stator certainly seems like the best size for the 4-inch tri-blade props. Although I wonder if I wish somebody made like an 1805, maybe even a 20. I think a 2005 would be a little bit too big. But yeah, I think an 1805 would be really interesting. 1804 is definitely too small. 2004 felt fantastic. Joshua says 2004 is Bay for 4-inch freestyle. Bay. I just pictured you saying Bay, and it's pretty awesome. Toxic, you know, you're right. I did take a picture of this rig before I took it apart, but I don't think I took a picture of the camera. I took a picture of the bottom, maybe. I forget what I took a picture of. LCVFPV says, what about the 1806? The 1806 is extremely coggy, so it's just worthless. Is it on, did you upload it to YouTube yet? Joshua? DJI combo winner? Nope. Okay, hold on. Alright, I'm going. Joshua Bardwell. FPV underscore Joshua Bardwell. There he is. Oh god, what just happened? I hit the wrong button. Oh wait, no! Ah, no copyright strikes! Okay. Should be fine. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I mean, yeah, at least he was wearing a mask. That's good. Wow. That jumped up a notch there. Obese Quad says that's what I'm using on my Shocker 4-inch. Are the lyrics of the song what's important? Or hold on. I'm just gonna. What's the lyric? I can't even hear it. Elmo slide? Is it Elmo slide? Is that what they're saying? Oh my god. Everybody go check out Joshua's TikTok and subscribe or whatever the hell you do over there to him, or else I will hit you with a hammer in your head. So you pick. Either show him some love or I will fly to your house and murder you. Back to work. Hi, kitten. You want me to beat you? Is that why you came in here? No? Okay. Well, if you want to be beaten, just come on back and be annoying. Ow. Yeah, hold on. I'll get you guys the link. Here comes the link. There you guys go. This got dark, Sputnik says. Yeah. Gotta stick with what you're good at, though, right? Okay, so we're gonna throw this hybrid on here, and then we are going to dive into Tiny Whoop Mayhem for the rest of this stream, and it's gonna be a late one. Put the children to bed, get ready for, I don't know, do whatever you want. Don't listen to me. I am not going to put the Insta360 Go mount back on this thing because it's got the RunCam hybrid on board, and if anything, I'll put an Insta360 Go 2 mount on it, since... How does this work? Backwards? No, this way. Since this got filled up last night, I'm going to have an Insta360 Go 2 soon, which is going to be fucking awesome. Cannot wait to check that thing out. BeepTube called me a cat beater. Sputnik says it's not a CI stream unless he threatens to come to your house and beat you with a hammer. Usually, I don't usually use hammer. Usually I go with metal folding chair. Or I try to mix it up for you guys. I try to mix up the threats of physical violence so that you don't know what hit you. Empty threat. Nothing like a good old fashioned empty threat of violence. Am I right? Am I right? No? Nobody else does that? Just me? Okay. It would appear that one of these standoffs is really in here. I'm having a hell of a time getting this out. Let's try this big fella. Let's try a combination of this guy, and let's see how hard I can stab myself. Oh, fucker! Come on, get out of there. Get out of there, you jerk. Oh man, I'm gonna stab myself real hard. You guys ready? Oh! God, it is so... I'm gonna have to turn the air conditioning on too. It's like 77 degrees in here. You fucker. Does anybody have a trick for doing this, man? Do you guys, like, is there... Oh my god. I've never... I've been able to figure out tricks to do damn near everything except for this. TPU is just so aggressive with these standoffs sometimes. Man. Let me try this. Let me try a little bit of this. Usually don't do this because I don't want to scratch up the standoff, but I also don't want to cut my fingers off or stab myself any more than I need to. Ugh. The sound that these standoffs make when you... Oh! For some reason, I never thought to use these little fellas. I always tried to, like, stab it out like a lunatic. That worked pretty well. Oh my god, I stabbed myself really good. And on the tip of my pinky, too. Todd Stafford says, you were mentioning motors. Thoughts on the Toka 2400 motors? I haven't heard of those, Todd. what size are they? If they're 2400 kV, I'm assuming that they're like a 2306 or a 2207. In which case, like, man, that market is very saturated, and the newbie drone flows are just like absurdly cheap, and like if you're looking for anything budget based, you kind of can't not buy those. And then if you want something premium, the T-Motor F40 Pro 4s are a lot lighter than everything else. So they're kind of the way to go for a 2306. And then for 2207 and 2208, I don't really know. I'm not into that motor size. But the other thing is that like pretty much all the motors that are out right now are just really, really good. It's unless there's something different and special about those Toka motors, I mean, it's just going to be like another option. And like if they're new, we don't really have any feedback on them. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it would make more sense just to get something that's a known quantity. Oh, you goddamn bastard. That could have been a lot worse, but it did hurt, and it is going to bleed, I think. But that's okay, I got it out. Yep, that's going to bleed. That's okay. We shall live to fight another day. 2900 kV. So they have a 2400 and a 2900 kV. It sounds like, Todd. 2900 kV is very high. I don't know of any 4S batteries that's gonna be able to handle that high of a kV. Pile of Carbon says, I set a pair of woodworking clamps just to slightly wider than the standoff and brace the TPU against that woodworking clamp, so I don't have any of those. I don't even know what that looks like. License to Drive says, you know that swivel chair TBS and Pyrodrone sell with their logo on it for $40? There's a company called Helinox that sells the same chair for $150. I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that chair for $11 billion before. I would assume that the $150 version of it has like carbon fiber something, maybe, or maybe not, or maybe that company just has a death wish. So they're 2900 kV. Yeah, 2900 kV 5-inch motors, in my opinion, don't really make much sense. I gotta get a Band-Aid on this. Because that's a 4S kV. Well, so for a couple different reasons, that's too high of a kV to motor limit down for 6S. And then I don't know of any 4S batteries that are going to be able to deliver, that are going to not sag like crazy with that high of a kV. So yeah, that's confusing why they would make them such a high kV. If it's a 5-inch motor, I don't know what the stator size of that motor is yet. I was assuming from you saying 2400 kV that it was a 5-inch motor. But at 2900 kV, God knows what it could be. Hopefully it's not a 5-inch motor at 2900 kV, because that would be kind of silly. Hopefully it's a micro motor. Toka. The other problem is if it's a micro motor. Oh yeah, that's true. Joshua says you're almost down to 3S at 2900 kV. Yeah, very true. If it's unfortunately, most micro motors are useless. There are like 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 micro motors. Other than the 2004, well, no, that's not true anymore. There aren't many micro motors that aren't super notchy. BH said he said they were 2004. Oh, thus the 2400. Okay. 2004. So 2004 at 2900 kV. Yeah, so unfortunately 2900 kV is a little on the low side. I'm really frustrated with these motor manufacturers on the 2004s. They really need to make them higher kV. This 4-inch rig is going to be on 2400 kV 2004s, and I know that I'm not going to be able to run it. I know that I'm not going to be able to run it on 4S. So I'm going to have to go up to 5 or 6S, and that's just annoying because there's absolutely zero benefit to running a micro on anything more than 4S because none of the micro motors pull hard enough to require that. And 6S is really hard on these tiny little lightweight electronics that we've got. So the 6S craze should only really be on big 5-inch rigs that are picking 600 plus gram all up weight. But unfortunately, most of these motor manufacturers are on the 6S hype train, and they're making these very low kV motors. So yeah, BH says Kebab Cinesplore motors are 3000 or 3500 kV, aren't they? Nope, they're actually 3950 kV. Bob and I have talked about this at length a bunch of times, and he's of the same mind as I am, and also with motor limiting, working like pretty flawlessly for me for the last like damn near year at this point, all the way down to like 60%. Yeah, this whole like lower kV motor thing is just stupid. These manufacturers should be like doing all their motors 1000 kV higher, and then we can just motor limit them down. It's really a shame. The motor limiting thing is a really big deal. Actually, my favorite, like where I really was kind of sold on the motor limiting is when Joshua came down for Christmas, around Christmas time, to fly here, and we were flying a spot that had like a big ass like 6 or 7 story parking garage. And I was getting all up in there doing a bunch of wacky stuff, and I just had a moment where I was like, man, I wish I had a little bit more power. And I remembered that I was motor limited down. So I landed midway through the battery, turned the power up by 5%, took back off, and it was like the perfect amount of power for the space that I was flying in. That's a big deal. Like we shouldn't be, we should try to not do that a lot, right? Because like we want our muscle memory to develop on the exact same setup over and over and over again, as we always talk about. But in a situation like that, it can actually kind of help, because like if your brain is kind of saying like, I wish I had a little bit more power, to me, in my opinion, that means that your brain is kind of saying like, my muscle memory is doing one thing and the performance of the rig is not matching that. And when I upped it by 5%, it just felt better. It felt more, it felt more better. It felt more fitted to that spot. That's not the right way to phrase it, but you guys know exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, having motor limiting and having motors that are a little bit too high of a kV so that you can bring them down to 80% or 75% or 85% or 90% even, it's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. Yeah, being able to turn your power up, or being able to switch from 4S to 6S without spending $500 in all new motors for your entire goddamn fleet. I'm not salty about having done that or anything, though. And it was in the CLI all along. More better equals betterer. Joshua says, I feel like 1900 or 2100 kV is about perfect for 6S. Absolutely. If you want to limit. I don't know about 2400. Yeah, I was super skeptical about 2400, but man, I've got 2 fully identical rigs that I've bounced back and forth between a whole bunch of times. One of them is on 2400s down at like 70% scale. The other one is on 1950s, scaled down to 85% maybe. They make the exact same. I tuned the motor scaling so that they make the same amount of power. I just do it by ear. I just go full throttle and listen to the pitch that it makes, and then plug the other one in, and one of them will go wee, and the other one will go wah, and then I just move the motor. But I bounce back and forth between those rigs. I can't tell a single difference. No difference in runtime. No difference in throttle feel. No like. And like when I watch the HD footage back, like I don't fly better with one or the other. It's pretty nuts. But I do agree that because the smart electrical people on the internet say that going below last I read was going below 70%, there should start to be some performance differences, basically. Avix says, if you got time, I sent you some pictures of battery IR. Am I crazy, or is it not that great? Out of the box, check Facebook from Daniel. Avix, do me a favor, just type the internal resistance. Well, I mean, shit. Let's just talk about battery internal resistances. On micro batteries, on tiny whoop batteries, I will keep them around until the IR gets to like 40 or 50. That's when I'll usually bail on a tiny whoop battery. On a micro battery, like a 2-inch, 3-inch battery, I will keep those around until the internal resistance gets to like above like 30, maybe 40 or so. And then on 5-inch rigs, the batteries really seem to start to suffer when the IRs get above like 10 or so, but I'll usually just keep flying them out of just stubbornness and cheapness until they get up to like 20, and at that point they just blow. So yeah, there are some ranges, but what you want to do is just check the internal resistances on all of your batteries, and that's going to give you, because like everybody's barometer is going to be a little bit different for like how much sag is too much, in my opinion. And the best way to kind of develop that internal barometer is to just test all of your batteries every like I'll try to do it like once a month. I'll test the IRs on all my batteries, and the more you do that, the more you'll sort of just figure out how much is too much for you. Like, because it's, you might be okay with an internal resistance of 100 because it's just your practice battery. Like, no judgment. That's totally fine. I have plenty of batteries with far too high internal resistances, but I keep them because I paid $30 or $35 or $25 for them. And like, if I can just, if there's any use for them, or like a bench battery, you know what I mean? Like a high internal resistance battery is a perfect bench battery to just plug your stuff in and blow them up because you accidentally reverse the positive and negative. Athix says 654S, 25 to 30. Yeah, that's a little high. That's for sure a little high. Here's the other problem, is that every single charger will show a different internal resistance, so you kind of have to test all your batteries so that you can calibrate your brain to your charger. Also, always make sure that you're taking the IRs when the battery is fully charged. The IRs will be a lot higher when the battery is at not fully charged, at a not fully charged state. But yeah, the biggest problem is that every single charger I've ever had will show like, it won't just be off by like 1 or 2 points. Like they'll be like way the hell off from one another. So your charger might just be reading high internal resistances. So yeah, you got to check all your other batteries. And luckily, by doing that, you're going to build your little mental encyclopedia of the IRs that you've been flying. And then that's how you want to judge, right? Because like, if you check your favorite battery and it's got an IR of 50, you're going to be like, oh shit, all right, 25 to 30 is kind of fine then. So yeah, do that and report back. But yeah, the IRs seem to be a fairly inexact measurement in my experience. From one charger to the next, from one battery to the next, from one battery manufacturer to the next. I've gotten batteries out of I've gotten fresh batteries that'll do that. They'll show like a really high internal resistance. What battery is it? What's the manufacturer? Out of curiosity. Typically the cheaper I mean, go figure, but typically the cheaper batteries will be much worse in terms of IR. All right, so here comes the other side of the mount. This is the hardest part about the Acrobrat is getting the camera mounted. Ah, I forgot to put the effing TPU on this side. Let's see if I can sneak it on without this falling out. The reason this is a pain is that you have to put a washer on both sides of the camera mount screw, and that's difficult because the inside washer always wants to fall out or the screw wants to fall out, and when the screw falls out it makes the internal washer fall out, and that makes me scream at the top of my lungs. Okay, let's try this again. Screw goes through, skinny tweezers for 1mm washer. Careful. Careful. Nobody breathe. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Come on. It's going to be your fault. Yes, you. Come on, come on, come on. Catch. Yeah. All right, so we're good. That's how you reassemble an Acrobrat. Boys and girls, women of all ages. B-Man says, isn't it safe to say that if each cell is pretty close to one another, that the internal resistance is pretty acceptable? Wouldn't there be more variance if one is worse than another? So what you're describing, B-Man, is how you can tell if a battery is essentially like blown up or about to blow up. Out of the package, they're like a fresh battery is in my experience never gonna have one cell that's all jacked up. The raw number that you get from the internal resistance is going to relate to how much or how little that battery sags. So when I compare 5-inch batteries to test 5-inch batteries, the internal resistances are a really good measure of how much sag that battery is or isn't going to have. The lower the internal resistance, the less sag it's going to have, the higher the more. But yeah, because of the fact that there seems to be like no control, there seems to be no like 10 is too high because the chargers are all over the goddamn place. You just kind of, you got to just kind of test all of your batteries as often as you can. And then you'll figure out what, because like, you go out and you fly and you'll have like one battery that sags like crazy. When you get home, check the internal resistance on that battery and a bunch of your other ones. And then you'll get to see, like, you check that one that was sagging real bad and maybe it's got IRs like in the 15s and the 20s, and then you check your other batteries and they have IRs that are all below 10, and you can be like, okay, so on my charger, on this size battery, and that's the other thing you have to remember, right, is that like micro batteries are going to have much higher IRs than 5-inch batteries. So you definitely have to keep that in mind. With a micro battery, that's why I keep micro batteries until the IRs are up in like the 30s and 40s and 50s sometimes, because they still fly fine. And like fresh out of the bag, a micro battery is going to give you IRs sometimes up in the teens and even into the 20s. So yeah, there's not like a hard and fast number that I can just sort of throw out there, unfortunately. Looks like I forgot to feed this battery wire through where it needs to go, so let me get that taken care of real quick here. William Barlow says, how do you check the IR on a battery with an ohm meter? I have no idea. I don't think you can. The charger has to put a little bit of a charge into them to test it. It's like a function on most battery chargers. EEDoc says there's a tiny whoop charger that measures IR. There's not, but you can make a janky ass little setup to plug it into a full size charger. B-Man says, gotcha. Sag ain't something that's on my radar when it comes to 6S. If it sags, it's 14 volt and it's dead. Yeah, it's true. Tiago says internal resistance can only be measured after the full capacity of the battery has been reached, usually after half a dozen cycles. Also, different capacity have different IR. And then Joshua dropping some awesome tech. RC Model Reviews has a video about how to do it, but Ciotti's right, you can't measure it with just ohms. You have to have a controlled load, so you pull a fixed amp and measure voltage drop. Ah, okay. I didn't realize that's what they were doing. When the chargers measure IR... So the... hey, no, what are you doing? Don't... No. What, you're going to just destroy the carpet? Where'd that come from? Don't do that. Don't look at me like I'm the asshole. You're the one trying to rip a hole in the carpet. What are you still looking at me like that for? Get out of here. You're being bad. Get out of here. Your office privileges are revoked. What was that? Don't stand out there and side-eye me. You little bastard. I'm gonna eat you. What was that about? Yo, this feral motherfucker. This is the first cat I've ever had that was like born out in the woods. Like he got rescued when he was like about a month old. And man, he does some weird shit sometimes. It's a fun experience though. It's kind of cool. It's like having a little mini tiger, which sometimes is great, other times is unbelievably frustrating. Like at 4 a.m. when he decides to just like sit out here and like, what are these noises, dude? What are you doing? I'm trying to fucking sleep. I'm gonna attack you with a shovel, a sickle. Relax. So on, the Flying Sandal series board, I wanted to order that from Newbie Drone in the worst way, but it was out of stock, and I had to get my order in for these 2004 flow motors, so I couldn't get one. And then like 2 days later, it went back in stock, and I took the laptop and threw it off the balcony. He doesn't chew on props, Spudnik. I know a lot of cats do, but he does not. It's weird. He sniffs the shit out of them, though. The old school B6 AC, the blue charger that like most people buy as their first charger for $60, that would check internal resistances like almost immediately. Like you hit the button to check it, and then it like almost immediately gives you the internal resistances. The ISDT charger and this toolkit RC charger, is that what it's called? Toolkit, right? The M6D. Yeah, toolkit. Both of these chargers, they don't read the internal resistances as quick. It's super annoying. And they don't even have like a test. Like you just have to tell them to charge the battery and then scroll over to the screen that shows the internal resistances. I don't like it. I wish they had a test feature like the B6 AC does. On a bunch of occasions, I've almost taken the B6 AC charger out. Like I've just saved it like as a backup or a travel charger. On a bunch of occasions, I've taken it out and almost hooked it up only to use it for checking IRs. But I don't really have room for it, so I've never actually done that. But next time I travel and I bring it with me, I'm going to use it to check all my IRs. Because yeah, it's got this like awesome little test function. And sometimes on the tool, like when my battery is fully charged on the toolkit, and I didn't see the IR before I stop the charge. If I go and tell it to charge again to try to get the IR, it won't charge it up, and the battery will be too charged to charge for long enough, for it to then tell me what the hell the IRs are. Man, we are getting in the weeds here. It's just one of those little annoying first world problems that I've never been able to really like figure out how to get around. So I just try to be better about remembering to look at the although it's I typically charge on a parallel board, and you can't really check your IRs when you're hooked up to a parallel board because they go really low. So you gotta charge batteries individually when you want to check the actual IR, which is a little annoying, but you know, it's not something that I do all that often. I try to do it like maybe once a month. All right, so let's get a little zip tie on this capacitor, and then I will hem and haw about whether or not to do zip ties on all 4 of these race wires. And then that'll be pretty much it. We'll throw the battery strap in here, and the Acrobrat will be all back together, and I can just go out and break another base plate immediately on it, because that's what I do with my Acrobrat. I fly a couple batteries, and then I smash it really hard, and I break the base plate. And then I procrastinate fixing the base plate for far too long, because it takes a long time. And then I go back out, crash it again, break the base plate again. I should bug Tommy to try to figure out how to do a removable arm Acrobrat. I don't think it'll work, though, because of the A-arm design. I don't know how you can do a removable A-arm. But if anybody can do it, it's Tommy. The innovator. Let's all start calling Tommy the innovator. All right. Jackalope FPV is one of my favorite names in recent history here on the streams. Joshua also says IR is not actually a resistance; it's a characteristic of the battery that makes it act as if it has a series resistor. You can't actually measure IR without pulling current. Interesting. Love it. Zach Silvestri says the Bang God has removable arms with A-arm design. Well, all right. Well, then Tommy just has to steal that. That makes it much easier. I forgot to put this on, but that's okay. This is the most minimal Insta360 Go holder in all the land. So there we go. Acrobrat is back together-ish. I always get the battery strap wrong. It goes over like that. Wait, no. I like to put it on from this side, right? Because then it sits like that, it goes over, and then I can pull it back towards me. Yeah. Yeah, so it's got to go from this side. And I wonder what I did with the prop nuts. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's clean the grip by spitting on it and rubbing it. That's what she said. All right, let me tighten up the camera screws a little bit here, because I always forget to do that. And huzzah! Man, I'm running out of zip ties. I need to order more of these little short red zip ties. I'm gonna zip these. You know what? No, I'm not gonna zip these. I'm not gonna zip these race wires down, because if I do go out and break this base plate on the first battery, I'll have saved a bunch of time and zip ties. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that I'm going to break this thing right away. I did just notice that I have a ton of flux over here. So let me just get a little bit of that kind of cleaned off here. Just because I now have my fancy new little isopropyl alcohol Menda container, and I want to use it. And I'm using it right now. I showed it on the stream yesterday, but this little thing is awesome. My father has had these forever, and I've always loved them. They have a little, the whole top, there's a little straw, and the whole top moves up and down, and it's a little pump, and it pumps liquid up into the little reservoir here, and then you just close the lid. So you put your isopropyl in there, and you pump it up, it makes a little pool. You take your little toothbrush, and you get it all over the thing, and then you close it, and you're good to go. It's amazing. I love it. I really do. I also have very fond memories of watching my father solder and just work on electronics. And like I just remember the sound like this. I very specifically remember this sound from my youth. Because that's the sound that these things make. Hey, Logitech, I'm gonna burn you. Thank you. Okay. Cool. Good to go. Next, we've got the actual name of the stream, Whoop Wednesday, and let's get into it. So, huge shout out to Frank Nicholas and Matthew Vega for selling me their Newbie Drone Acrobee V1. This is the only tiny whoop board that's worth a damn. It's not true. It's the only tiny whoop board that that has an MPU 6000, and you're able to use it in a variety of different frames, including the Cockroach 75 frame, and the 75 millimeter whoop thing is gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be a really fun Insta360 Go 2 carrier, and I'm gonna do some really cool shit with it. So, but rather, unfortunately, these V1 boards are gone. Newbie Drone is not getting any more in. I waited like 6 months. So yeah, it's just not gonna happen, but that's okay, because you guys are awesome. And you dug deep in your old stuff that you didn't want anymore. Not really. It's more that I fucking guilt tripped you guys into sending these to me. Hey, there's Matthew Vega. Yeah, Matthew was cool enough to barter with me. We did a flight instruction lesson in trade for this, which was super, super, super cool of them. So, yeah, we're going to pull both of these guys apart. I'm going to take these boards out, and then we're going to use these two boards to do some motor testing against this 65 Whoop, which has just been absolutely outrageous. If you're not familiar with this Whoop, I'm going to give you a couple of links here on a couple of little simple cinematic things that I did with them. And yeah, once I get it onto the Insta360 Go 2, it's going to be even better, especially with not a scratched lens. This was my this was filmed with my Insta360 Go that got shot out the front of a rig and scraped the shit out of the lens. So in the top left corner, it's all cloudy. That's because the lens was horrendously scratched. So ignore that. But there you go. There's 3 links to what you can do with a 65mm whoop with this silly little TPU bunny ear thing on top and an Insta360 Go 1. The Insta360 Go 1 is 18 grams, and this thing can barely pick... Nah, I won't say it can barely pick it up, but if it were 19 grams, it would be an issue. That's not true either. If it were 22 grams, it would be an issue. At 18 grams, it's fine. It's totally flyable, you'll see. But the Insta360 Go 2 is 26 grams, and that's too much. I can almost guarantee that is too much for a 65mm whoop. So, enter the 75mm whoop. And, but first, I want to just knock out a little bit of 65mm whoop motor testing. Because I finally got my hands on a set of these Tiny Whoop 27,000 kV Danger onesies. So we definitely have to test these compared to the Happy Model 0802 25,000 kV that are on this currently, that all 3 of those edits were flown with. And then while we're at it, we might as well compare them to... This is my whoop box here. We might as well also compare them to the iFlight and or the Beta FPV 0802 22,000 kV motors, which I need to find. So this, I gotta... Okay, so this is one of the things I needed to find. So this is the Newbie Drone specific plug headers, and then this is a bag of the normal motor plug headers as female. So I can make adapters for these so that I don't have to direct solder these motors to these AIOs, which is a humongous, tremendous win for me, not having to direct solder more Tiny Whoop motors, because there's just nothing more frustrating than doing that. And it really makes like head-to-head testing things kind of impossible. So I'm about to add a bunch more Newbie Drone motors to my collection. If anybody wants any of these Newbie Drone 0802 18,000 kV motors to maybe run like on 2S, I guess, let me know. Because they're useless on 1S. They're not useless. They're just... Fuck it. They're useless. I'm through being diplomatic. I'm just gonna shit on everything. These already have... but they have split pin. Okay, so I'm gonna have to swap out the power leads to solid pin in order for this to be a fair fight. Alright, so this is a solid pin. That's good. And then I think I ordered some... I think I ordered some of the 90-degree ones. Yes, I did, and they're even purple. You can get these little 90-degree jib jabs from tinywhoop.com. Okay. I've also got a set of 1202s in here from Newbie Drone, don't I? Yeah, 11,420 kV. Those we're going to play with later. Hey, here they are. Here's the motor box. Found it. Okay. Oh, and here's another set of the stupid little Newbie Drone specific jib jabs. All right, well, you've chosen beatings, huh? All right. Time to be beaten. Oh, he knows. He knows. He knows it's coming. I can't beat him now because he'll claw my face off, but have you ever seen a worse cat in your life? Look at that stupid face. Look at that bad face. Look how bad of a face. Oh, we didn't love that. All right, hold on. I'm allergic to cats, so I gotta go brush myself off. I'll be right back. Ugh. Ugh. All right, should be okay. It is after midnight. Zach Sylvester says, if it weren't for Bot Grinder, Joshua Bardwell, and CiottiFPV, I wouldn't know what day of the week it is. Unknown Druid says, you were talking motor scaling, and I was wondering, settings to input until I get a replacement motor. I've got 3 22,000s and 1 spare 18,000. So luckily for you, Unknown Druid, the PID loop runs at like either 4 or 8,000 times a second, and it will automatically do that for you. So you don't have to scale it. In the situation that you're in there, that 18,000 kV motor is going to turn all the other motors into 18,000 kV motors, basically. But yeah, you don't really have to do anything. You just plug plug those motors in, and the PID loop will just figure it out. You shouldn't even know. I mean, you're obviously going to notice a big decrease in power from 22,000 down to 18,000. But you shouldn't get any arm drops or anything like that. Tiago says 27,000 AK rockets with props. No. So there's been some talk with tiny whoop motors and the advertised KV. Apparently, the KV that they're with these tiny little motors, it's really hard to like say like this motor is 25,000 kV. Like you'll actually test it and the KV will be all over the damn place. I talked to SR13 Sebastian Ruth. In my opinion, the best freestyle Tiny Whoop pilot in all the land. He used to be sponsored by Tiny Whoop. He has run these. He previously to these, he ran the Happy Model 25,000s, and he said these make less power than the Happy Model 25,000s. So I don't know. I'm interested to back them and see what kind of results I get. There is a point where you can have too much KV, and it just kind of saturates the stator. So that could be the situation there, or he could have gotten a bad set, or maybe there is this weird, crazy like variance in KV between these motors. It's hard to tell. But I'm looking forward to seeing if I can figure out what the hell's going on. Because maybe if there's a couple of us putting our heads together and actually, flying the damn things, we'll see what happens. But he is now back onto the 0802 25,000 Happy Model motors. And he's been flying those for a long time. And he's the reason that I started flying them. Because I messaged him and I was like, what's the hot... Like, a year ago, I messaged him and I was like... You're the best freestyle tiny whoop pilot in the world. What's the hot setup? And those were it. Robert Davis says, am I able to connect my Meteor 75 to Betaflight? Absolutely, Robert. B-Man says, I contemplated putting 25Ks on the Mobilite 6, but I think it would send it to the moon. Just throttle scale it down. You'll be good. License to Drive says, how dare a cat enjoy a good scratch? Yeah, right? Joan Pod says, I watched Ciotti for the whoop side of knowledge in that area. I watched Joshua Bardwell for knowledge of all the mid-range stuff. Kebab 7-inch from our own 10-inch rigs, but that is okay. And then B-Man says, good old Happy Model QC, hard at work again, I guess. Yeah, usually I would bash on Happy Model, but man, their 0802 25,000s are nuts. They're the best tiny whoop. They're the best 65 mil tiny whoop motors, like, period. Athix says, best motors I've run so far are 0803 20,000 kV. I've tried a couple different 0803s, and they just hammer the battery too hard. 0802 seems to be the sweet spot in terms of like getting some runtime, but also getting some decent power. So yeah, I was really excited to run 0803s, but they just did not perform. They just really... I mean, these 0802s hammer the shit out of these tiny whoop batteries as it is. The 0803s just demolish them. And there was... And like, they would demolish the battery without even making any real, like, extra power. It didn't seem like, so... So yeah, look at these guys. I found this on Amazon. Little kit with... So this female side will plug into the Tiny Whoop motors, into the Beta FPV motors, into the Happy Model motors, and then I just got to strip this down, and Newbie Drone sells the male side of their stupid ass little proprietary connectors here. I love Newbie Drone so much, but it just drives me crazy that they chose to use these. So it's JST 1.0. So that they chose to use non-standard JST 1.0 motor connectors on their AIO boards, and they are just the bane of my existence. Mainly because it just, yeah, it only allows you to use their motors, and they don't make 0802s in a high enough kV. The highest kV they make for 0802s is 20,000 kV, and that there's just so much more performance to be had with the 22,000 and the 25,000 kV 0802 motors. So, yeah, it's a shame, but because I would love to run their motors, but they don't make ones that are angry enough, basically. So, alright, on this frame, we are going to put the Tiny Whoop Danger onesies. And so I'm going to remove... Oh, wait, no. Let me get these props off first. See if I can get these props off without bending them. I typically can't. These Azzy props that Newbie Drone makes are incredibly lightweight. I love how lightweight they are. And they also seem to be a pretty efficient looking blade profile, but man, are they fragile. Holy crap, are they fragile. I typically can't put them on to the motor without bending one of the blades. Which is kind of a deal breaker for me. I got so excited when they made the 4-blade version, but then, yeah, they just... I assume that I'm bending them when I'm putting them on. Technically, they could be out of balance, but I'm assuming that I'm bending them when I'm putting them on because they're just so fragile. Like they're just such a thin blade, and the plastic is just, yeah, just a little thin. Ow, man, why am I stabbing myself so many times tonight? Ugh. I hate taking these propellers off. I hate it. Okay. I'm gonna have to go get something to eat soon, man. It's getting late. Oh man, I stabbed myself good. Athix says, who is worse, Emacs or Newbie Drone on proprietary stuff? Absolutely no contest, Athix. Emacs is the worst. Absolutely no contest. Emacs is the king of proprietary stuff. Newbie Drone typically doesn't do the proprietary thing, and I know I talk a lot of shit on them for using these connectors, but they use these connectors like for a reason, which was to get the weight down and to save a little bit of space on the board. So like, as much as it drives me nuts that they did this, at least they did it for a reason. Emax uses proprietary stuff for no reason, in my opinion. They use proprietary stuff to lock you in and to make more money. And I have a really big problem with that. That is not what Newbie Drone did. The Newbie Drone is in a situation where on their AIO boards they use their own OSD chip and setup kind of thing, and that takes up a little bit more space on the board, so that's why they did this. So I totally give them a pass for having. I don't give them a pass. That's not true, but they at least did it for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like there was at least a performance benefit from doing this, or a need. There was a need to do this, whereas Emax just does it to lock you in. You know, the 3.5-inch prop thing. Come on. On the original, and then like they have all these motors that have like very specific bolt patterns that aren't shared with anything else. Come on. Don't do that. What, like, we don't deserve that. What did we do to deserve that? You know, we're good consumers. We buy their stuff. Don't do that. Come on. Especially don't do that when you're gonna not spec out a properly sized motor. Like, if they chose a properly sized motor and they used a wacky bolt pattern, it would be okay, because it would be like, all right, well, at least this thing flies good. But they don't. They choose motors that are the wrong size and the wrong KV, and then you can't change the damn things. And it's like, okay. Like, you made a good frame and you did like a bunch of other cool stuff, but then you did this one silly thing, and that prevents me from running your stuff. And I love Emax. Emax got me into this hobby, right? Like, if I'd gotten the, I was very torn between the Baby Hawk and the Blade Torrent, and the Blade Torrent turned out to be one of the worst bind flies ever. And if I chose, and it was twice as much money, it was $200. And there's a really good chance that if I'd bought the Blade Torrent, I would have gotten so pissed off that I would have quit this hobby, because I almost quit this hobby like 3 or 4 times from the Baby Hawk. And yeah, if it had been any worse, I very well could be back into motorsports at this point, even more poor. So like, yeah, I love Emax, but like, no, stop with the non-standard shit. Stop. Don't do it anymore. Please, I beg of you. Son of Flat Top wants to know about my magical prop removal tool. I mean, the only thing you really need to know about it is that if you scroll down in the description, there's a link to it. It's actually a chip lifter by Weeha. Come on, you jerk. There you go. There's the number. If you search for 26810 Weeha on Amazon, WIHA, this is the only thing that I've found that will remove like stubborn, stuck-on tiny whoop propellers. Unfortunately, when you remove them, it does that thing when the propellers let go all at once and you jam yourself in the finger, which is what happened a minute ago. But at least you can get the goddamn propellers off. These ridiculous little ones that you can get from Banggood and from Newbie Drone, they just bend as soon as you put like 1 Newton meter of force on them. This is like a really sturdy, serious bastard. But yeah, there's an affiliate link down in the description to this. You need this to, if you're going to be working on tiny whoops, you need this thing. It'll save your sanity. Tiago says, have you seen the 26 blade props? I haven't. Although Quad Mover did a video with double stacked 8-blade. Is that what you're referring to? I don't think that math adds up to 26. I think you're referring to something else, Tiago. DQ says, are the HM 25,000 KVs on the SE or the EX models? I noticed there are 2 versions. I don't know what any of those acronyms mean, DQ. What's HM? Happy Model. Are the Happy Model 25,000s the SE? Oh, I don't know the name of the model, but I think it's called the Race. I don't know what SE or EX is. But there should be specs. There should be a spec sheet on each one. Drone Pilot says, Jackalope FPV, I pay Ciotti $40 a month for the most out of all the per month. The most out of all the Patreon subscriptions. I have just because he's so likable and shares so much knowledge when you ask him. Yeah, you guys that go north of the $30 tier are fucking dope. You're the best. Son of Flat Top says, could you tell me about your prop removal tool? Tiago says, that's it. 16. I instinctively recall the 6-blade props gave in the giveaways. Oh yeah. Yeah, it did you notice in Quad Mover's video how bad that rig flew with those propellers on it? He was very, like, you can see when he actually digs into the throttle a little bit. That rig was not a fan of having those 8 or 6 blade, whatever the hell they are, double stack propeller setup. Probably because that's like 10 grams of propeller. All right, I think I'm just gonna leave this thing together like this. Oh no, I can't. I have to desolder the motor connector. All right, that's fine. Oh wait, I gotta pull one of these screws. All right, so I think this was the one that Vegas sent. Is torn apart and good to go. You are welcome, DQ. Okay, so I'm also gonna put it into a smoke crotch frame. That's another joke from the League. One of the characters accidentally lights his dick on fire. No, he lights his bush on fire, and then all of his friends call him Smoke Crotch. And I laugh. Because that's what I do. What was I getting up to? Oh, right. A Smoke Crotch colored 65 frame. What's this? Oh, I know what this is. I'm going to leave that out. Where? Here they are. Alright, smoke crotch frames coming up. Okay, hey, look at that. I have 2 of them. That's pretty awesome. Perfect. Although, wait, no. I don't need to, I'm not gonna keep these together, right? The point is, I'm only doing this for the motor testing. I don't want to have more than one of these 65mm whoops. I would rather have 2 of the 75s, so I actually don't need these. Yeah. I don't need these. Okay, cool. I will not rob the giveaway Cockroach 65 frames. I will leave them in there. And while I have the door open, I'll put giveaway shit in there. Yeah, look at me go. Ooh, I pooted. Okay. Good. But I do have... I could do a little bit of a... where's that bag of tiny whoop stuff? Is this it? This is it. Okay. So... I'm going to grab one of these frames. Because this frame's got something going on. Although, nah, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Being crazy. I don't want these white clear frames anymore, though. So I am actually going to rob those, well, you know, I'm just going to leave this out. I'll figure it out at a later date. Okay, smoke crotch frames as a reminder, and back we go to work. Jackalope says, lit his bush on fire. I'm dying. Do any of you guys watch The League? I feel like I quote The League, and none of you guys like freak out and laugh along with me, which makes me feel like none of you guys watch The League. Am I really the only one that watches The League? If you guys aren't watching The League, like, turn this bullshit off and go. It's one of the funnier shows in the last, like, 20 years. It's technically about fantasy football, but what it's actually about is four friends just shitting all over each other, which is why I like it. Oh, balls. These are camera plugs. These aren't the PH 1.0s. I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper to find the PH 1.0s, I think. Yeah, it's just about four friends cursing a lot, and like, oh man, you guys. It's not with The Rock, right, 9. It's with not super well-known guys, which is kind of great. You'll recognize some of the guys, though. You'll recognize some of the guys. You just got to go watch it. You guys got to just trust me. It's fucking great. You're gonna hear them, like, a lot of the cursing I do is from The League, because they're just very creative, and they just say things that just warm my heart, man. It's yeah, it's the funniest thing. Like, if you guys are still here, it means that you're okay with cursing, and it probably also means that you kind of find cursing to be funny, and they're very good at cursing. And like, not necessarily just cursing for the sake of cursing, but like using it properly in like a really, really funny way. So yeah, for real, get on The League now. They spend about like 30 seconds per episode actually talking about fantasy football, which is great because I couldn't care. I literally could not. There's not a world that exists where I could care even a little bit less about fantasy football than I do right now. That's how little I care about it. But it doesn't matter because they don't. They barely talk about it. The whole show is just them shitting all over each other. It's just beautiful. Absolute beauty in TV. I don't know why I'm doing this right now, but I am, so you guys are going to have to watch for the next 60 seconds. Sometimes I just like see something and I'm like, if I don't put that away right now, I'm actually going to lose my mind. Like, I for real will, like, this will be it. It'll be over. So sometimes you just got to do a little cleaning, a little organization. All right, I am stocked back up on M3 by 3 spacers, which you can get from Newbie Drone. And I think they're the only place that you can get these from. So go now. I'll wait. I'll wait. Okay. In the loop metal? No. What the hell is that? I am a big fan of cursing, though, so much so that I immediately go to the site, my secret torrent site, and search for In the Loop. Oh, it's a sci-fi... no, that's Time Loop. In the Loop, there it is. I will be downloading this as soon as the stream is over. Oh, I recognize this. I recognize this album art. Political satire. Oh, I have heard of this. I don't know if I've seen of this. I don't have seen of this. Seen of this. I don't know if I've seen of this. I don't know if I've seen of this. Ah, hey, hey, hey. I don't know if I've seen it. Same guy that created Veep, loosely based on a previous British show you called The Thick of It. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch. I'm gonna watch this tomorrow when I wake up, I'll bet you. I can't believe you guys haven't watched The League. For shame. Mainly for shame because I'm just very jealous that you're gonna get to watch it for the first time. I've watched. There's a lot of seasons. There's like 7 or 8 seasons, I think. I have watched all the seasons of The League at least 6 or 7 times, beginning to end. It is just genius. 7 seasons, right? 9 says it's genius. It's absolute genius, and it's on one of the streaming services. Where to watch The League? It is on Hulu. Along with Hulu's got some really good stuff on it right now. So yeah, if you have Hulu, I swear to God, and I find out that it looks like it's on Amazon Prime too. Very cool. If I find out that you haven't taken my words of advice and started watching The League, it's over for you. It's over. I will kill you. Man, I am burning out on working on tiny whoops. Both of my fingers really hurt from stabbing them. I think maybe I'm going to turn on the soldering iron and make these adapters, and then I think I might call it for the night. Matthew Vega's out of here. Thanks for hanging out, brother. And thanks for the hookup. Very cool of you. Yeah, all I want to do now is go watch. I also downloaded something or other last night that I also want to watch. So yeah, now my willpower for working on quads is gone. Plus, like, man, there's just something about working on tiny whoops that just fucking sucks my will to live. Ugh. It's just so miserable. It's just never-ending misery with tiny whoops. I haven't even opened this box yet. Look at these little things. Maybe I have. Look at these little gold bastards. 0802, 27,000 million kV. Ugh. Let me make sure that this is the right plug that I got before I go doing anything. Oh, yes it is. What pisses me off is that by using these plugs, I'm adding some extra resistance. So, like, you could argue that this is not a total 1-to-1 test, and that the happy models are going to get are going to have the leg up because they're direct soldered, whereas these guys are going to be they're going to be double connectored actually. But I'll be goddamned if I'm going to direct solder 5 sets of motors up to do this testing. So it's fine. And you know what? That right there is why I'm going to do testing on both of these rigs. And then this is just going to be like a little bit of a benchmark, but this is a tough benchmark because it's direct soldered. So this has a definite... Ooh! You know what? That also allows me to not swap out the battery leads. I'm going to leave these rolled pin battery leads on both of these because these are where the testing is going to be done. Yes. Yes. Yes, Y-E-S. Even less work to do. You guys just witnessed utter, legitimate genius. Legitimate genius just happened live on stream, and you guys got to witness it. And if that's not worth 10 cents a day... oh, I'm getting good at that! CiottiFPV.com. Very top link is a link to Patreon. This month, I turned 40, and I'm giving away at least 6 full builds to my patrons. So get your ass over there and get on the Patreon page, or I will hit you with a shovel. So I need to make these little adapters as short as possible. And well, that's funny because your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duties. I was quoting it as I was reading it, Jackalope, because I too know that entire movie line by line by line by line by line. Because I have no life. Toxic FPV says, I'm printing out this sick little 75mm whoop box that has a drawer for spare parts and 6 slots for lipos. I'm going to send you 1 or 2 of them for the giveaways, or you can keep them. Very cool, Toxic. Much appreciated, man. Toxic says, had me on as a leg up because they're the best. Yeah, that too. B-Man says, 24-hour birthday stream, boy. So, I was thinking about doing another 24-hour stream, but then Kristen reminded... I don't remember this, but apparently, like, for days after the 24-hour stream, I was like a real dick. So yeah, the 24-hour stream is, I don't think that's going to happen again. But there are going to be 12-hour streams. I don't think it's going to be a 12-hour birthday stream, because I want to actually enjoy my birthday. But it is gonna. It's probably gonna be like a 6-hour stream because I think it's gonna start at 6 p.m. Because that's what time I invited the fellas over at. And then yeah, I probably won't stop until like midnight-ish. But it'll be good, man. April 17th. Pencil that shit in. It'll be a big stream. Okay. So the question is, how short do I dare go on this? I think, let me measure it out. So I'm going to start with 1 centimeter. I think that's a good round number. And then I'm going to, oh man, this is not, this is PVC wire. Of course it is, because you bought it from Amazon, you dick. So that's 1 centimeter of terrible, terrible wire. Rotor Rabbit FPV says, what are you doing with the Acrobee? I am doing some motor testing with 2 of these Acrobees. We're going to do a little smackdown test of Tiny Whoop 0802 27,000s versus Happy Model 25,000s versus iFlight 22,000s versus Beta FPV 22,000s. And then we're going to test a 75mm whoop on the Cockroach 75 newbie drone frame. Oh man. Now I really want to bail on this because these are not silicone wires. Oh my god. How do you guys strip these It's been so long since I've worked on non-silicone wires. I don't remember if there's a trick to stripping the goddamn things. Oh god, why? Why me? Oh, I hate having to use these on 30 gauge wires. Oh my god. What about fire? Will fire accomplish anything? Turn to black. That did a little bit of something. Ugh. This is a nightmare. This is my nightmare. God, why does anyone do this? Why? 39 birthdays is just one more 24-hour stream celebrate the 200 patrons. Yeah, with some things that are going on in my life, the absolute last thing I'm gonna do is something that's gonna put me in a bad place for days afterwards. Unfortunately, but I don't know. Maybe in the future, just not for my birthday. That's for sure. What if I just really drive my fingernails into it? Let's see. Oh my god, it's the worst! It's just the worst. Ugh, gross. Alright, well, I got 2 of them. Go on to the 3rd. Luckily, I only have to do this with 8 of these. Ugh, 8. 8 times 3 equals a number that I don't want to think about. 24. Oh my god, I can't believe I have to do this 24 times. Are you shitting me? Well, that one wasn't too bad. The problem is when I do that, I'm really pulling on these things. I can't really like get a good grip to not pull on them. But I don't know what else to do. Man, how much can it really be that much more expensive to use fucking silicone? Actually, yes. It actually is. Alright, well, let me make one of these. I'll make one of these little adapters, and then I'll see what time it is. And oh Christ, which I guess it doesn't matter what order I do this in. You don't need to be straight. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one 1 centimeter as well. Luckily, Newbie Drone used silicone. Oh yeah, I only have to do, no, I do have to do 8 times. Oh god, that is a nightmare. Hey! And hello again, cat. It is a little bit closer to your feeding time, buddy. It is a little closer. Oh wait, it's beyond your feeding time. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm a bad parent. Oh, you're laying on the floor like a good boy. Oh my god. You fat bastard, you. You're not fat. You can't be fat. Your pancreas is broken. Oh, look at you. You're being so good right now. Yeah, this cat is usually a bad boy. He's a bad boy. He's really not. He's a good dude. Just sometimes he's a bad dude. He really isn't. He's a really good cat. But man, he was bad when he was like the first like year that we had him. Oh man, he was a fucking jerk. We had to really like. There were a couple moments where I was like, I don't know if I can deal with this. Like we might just have to give him away. All right, here comes some flying. I gotta go feed him because he's got pancreatitis, and his like genetically his pancreas is fucked. So I actually like do for real have to go feed him. So here is here, let's do this. I'm just gonna go to my channel and force you guys to watch some of my old edits, whether you like it or not. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. I want to go here. You know what I'm gonna make you guys watch? I'm gonna make you guys watch the goddamn. Where is it? Oh, when I'm not streaming and you go to the channel, it plays the. Oh wait, I can just do this. It plays the quad camp video, but if I just search for quad camp, it should find it. Hey! And this is probably long enough. Yeah, 6 minutes. Here you guys go. This is where it all began.
Wait, put a solo
Things are escalating. Micro madness.
This is the props are not happy. What's the challenge?
The challenge is to power loop the first table and under the second table. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no one's gonna dive on my
Who's next? Who's
Wait,
next?
where's you got the
Take the
fleet?
table. Take
You
the
got the
table.
fleet. Where's your situation? You got a whole fleet of micros, man. It's the challenge. You gotta
And Aaron's like, nope.
power
No.
loop this thing. Come on,
Come on, come on.
Yeah, I did it better than that.
No, I got in there at least.
You're trying to move in between.
Yes!
Oh,
That was the whole thing.
and then power.
Wow, you thought you were getting an epic power loop, but instead you got the best perch of the weekend.
No one can do this. It's impossible. I feel dirty. No one can do it. The loop, the impossible loop.
Okay, everybody pay attention.
We got 4S about to go.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I apologize in advance for this.
I'm getting out of the way here.
I'm gonna stand behind.
I want to shield.
Oh boy.
This is a bad. We're sitting too close.
Take a couple laps. Yeah. Take a couple laps there and get warm. Oh my gosh, what is that thing?
Watch your eyeballs, boys and girls. And it's not like there's any pressure or anything. No pressure.
It's really not that far away, so.
Just doing the safety passes is scary. There's not like room for error.
Power was coming.
Technically did it, and it's still flying.
It's down.
Is it gone?
Yeah, it's up top.
Welcome to Rotor Riot.
And the new Rotor Riot pilot.
Put it Maddie it?
Put a Maddie it? Put a Maddie it?
It was the award.
Should I Maddie it?
It was the award for.
He just said, should I Maddie it?
I don't believe that you will have it. And I'm also not going to stand over there while you're talking.
Oh shit. You really doing it?
Yeah.
Everybody goes outside
for this one. He's gonna Maddie it. We're Maddie looping the table.
Oh man.
We're really not.
Oh man,
We're really
so
not.
part 2.
Yep.
If the power loop wasn't enough, now we're gonna try and Mandy flip this.
We're making history here, Drew.
Oh, close.
Oh, you didn't lose the top on that. Wow.
Is that lined up? You're good. No, you're way off.
Oh.
It was this
I'll dub him the micro. Which one?
He is the micro king. It was clean.
Wow. That was awesome. That was super awesome. Man, this thing is freaking bad.
You learned all that at quad camp.
2 days.
2 days, and you can now Matty flip tables with a 4S inside a warehouse.
That's the worst sentence I've ever heard.
The micro king. Yeah. Absolutely, hands down. Absolutely.
Thank
The
you guys
power
for pushing me to
loop,
do
I
that.
didn't get
I wouldn't
that.
have done that.
The Matty flip over, that was just like, are you kidding?
I tried as hard as I could to get the power loop. I put in everything
I tried as hard as I could too. I made it through. I just couldn't finish it.
I don't know how the hell I did that.
It was well done, well deserved.
Thanks, guys. Holy hell. What a weekend.
Ah! Don't play that song! No! 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 Okay. We're good. Should be okay. What a strange life, man. What a weird life. It's funny, man. That's like one of these moments in my life that one of the things depression kind of does is it robs you of like just moments of pure joy, unfortunately. And but like there's certain situations that even the depression can't fuck up, and that was one of them. That's like, yeah, just pure unadulterated like fuck yeah. Ugh. Quad camp was very cool, man. It's a shame it was so expensive to run and host and put on. It was a really good time. Really, really unique, really cool event. Yeah, I was super sad when it didn't work out. But I mean, it can't. It's just, like financial. I mean, $300 for a ticket, and then like you can't even break even on the whole deal. Like it's just yeah, it's a shame, but life's imperfect. All right, so I'm gonna make this one and see how it goes, and then I think I'm gonna go get in the loop downloading, and then I'm gonna watch whatever the hell I downloaded last night that somebody had recommended. And then tomorrow I'm going to stream a little bit earlier. Today was a little bit of a mess. But yeah. Full acro, Tiago. Jackalope says, when was that video taken? That was... So it's 2021 now. So 2020, 2019, either 2018 or 2017. And I believe it was like February or so. Oh, there you go. Right at 9. February 5th, 2018. Okay, yeah, so it was 2018. Yeah, that's all. There's another edit from there buried on my channel where Drew flew that same rig there. That's the that's actually this. Just without the little fake HD. Look, it's all fucking, it's all cobwebby. So that's this. This is the CB122. This was one of Rotorius's very early frames. It's the carbon. This is the frame where I realized what a big deal it was to have the carbon fiber weave going in the right direction, because this frame is very bendy. And then the next version of this frame, the weave was going in the correct direction. It was a lot better. Although this frame is also broken. This is So you might have noticed in that video I had to change props at one point. This is actually the propeller that broke. And you know what's really funny is I'd tried the power loop like 4 or 5 times. And so the guy that was here in Atlanta at Grayson Hobby, weirdly. At the time I was living in Charleston, and so that was like a 5-hour drive, right? And my buddy Luke, who at the time lived in Charleston, now he's moved to the Northeast. Luke rode up with me. And so that was after hours. That was the second day. So that was like Sunday night at like, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock. And Luke really had to get home. Luke has 4 kids and a wife at home. And he really needed to get home. And we had a 5-hour ride to get home. So that was one of the reasons why I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Because I knew that we needed to get on the road. But then, you know, when Ladrib comes over and peer pressures you, it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll try. So like I tried it like I think 4 times, and the blade of this propeller blew completely off, and Riot 9, and I think I'd even said out loud, like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm just gonna leave it there. One of the pro pilots can fly again. And I think it was Brad was like, no, dude, keep going. So yeah, I was really like up until the point where this propeller broke, like the nerves were mega. Like I was having a really hard time with the nerves. But like I guess like the process of just like chilling out for a second and changing a propeller, which like up until that point I didn't have, like I had just built a 5-inch rig like 2 weeks before that event. Up until that point I had changed like a million T-mount props, and just like the routine and like the methodical process of like changing that propeller just kind of like brought me down. And then the next one is the one that I almost got, where I like technically kind of got it, where Tommy was going like, he did it. And then the one after that is when I nailed it. It's just like, holy shit. But yeah, this is the frame. This is not the camera, and this was not on it here. But yeah, this is it. This is the CB122. It's just a 2.5-inch solid base plate alien copy. The bigger brother to this frame is the CB 2.5. Is this guy, and this one. So here, this was the original. This was like one of Rotorius's first frames. He literally just took like a picture of the alien frame and then scaled it down. That's why all the cuts look the same. And then this is the next generation of that, and you can see the carbon fiber weave on the arms is traveling the length of the arm. But yeah, this CB 2.5 is still, I still fly this thing. I love flying this. This is great. And this flew just as good. And it was on, of course, the RCX 1304s. And this is the rig here on the RCX 1304s, again, without this stupid camera. This is the rig that when Drew flew it, he said that it's that this was one of the best flight experiences that he's ever had in FPV. Which was like, holy shit. Because at the time, like, I was kind of the only guy pushing micros at the time. Like, there just weren't any micros that really flew well, and nobody was really building custom micros and custom tuning them and shit like that. This was back in like Betaflight 3.2 and shit, and like it was real hard to get the fucking things up in the air, and let alone trying to get them to fly properly. And I was on 4S. Nobody had even like considered putting a micro on 4S. And yeah, micros, it's funny, you know, now it's like nobody, like if you're going to build a brand new 5-inch rig, it's like, well, yeah, I might as well build it 6S, right? And if you're going to build a micro, it's like, well, yeah, I'm going to build it 4S, right? I was like way ahead of the curve on that. luckily. But it just came from, you know, the Baby Hawk was 2S. I experimented with 1S a little bit, and then I moved up to 3S, and then I moved up to 4S because like it just became obvious that like each time I stepped up in voltage, the sag would get a little bit better. There'd be a little bit less sag, and yeah, like the CB2.5, well, the CB122 at the time, when it was on 3S, it didn't have enough power, and there was a little bit too much sag, and then I moved up to 4S, and that was it. I'll never forget when I put that thing onto 4S with those RCX motors. I was like, holy shit, like this is the way quads are supposed to fly. And yeah, and then that happened. Man, those RCX motors, for real, like could not have done it without those RCX motors. Like, sounds very dramatic to say that, but it's the actual truth. Those motors made that rig what it was, and allowed that rig to just have the flight performance and the power to be able to do such a silly thing. And then yeah, I just kept in touch with those guys. Like as soon as I got home from that event, I friended all those guys on Facebook, and you know, since that shit had just happened, like they recognized me or whatever and accepted my friend request, and then I would just like whenever it was appropriate, I would shoot them messages and ask them questions and just not be like obnoxious, but at the same time like kind of stay in front of them. And you know, and they're all normal guys. They're all as normal as I am, right? So, I mean, not actually normal, but you know, as normal as any of us can hope to be, I guess. This is gonna be a nightmare, man. Trying to, maybe I'll do them like this. It's a lot easier to do these like this. And that kind of makes sense because then I can make like a little 90... Yeah, let's do them like this. Let's do these little fellows. Like butt to butt, basically. Man, my fingers hurt! Oh, yeah? That's my favorite part. Oh, yeah? Do they? Oh. Well, guess what? Oh my god, this is gonna be frustrating. I can see the writing on the wall. I can't believe I'm gonna have to make 8 of these goddamn things. Ugh. Gotcha, bitch! Stay there. Stay there like that. Stay like that. Please stay like that. Please stay like that. Please stay like that. No, that's not quite right. I need to just kind of line it up a little better here. Oh man, this is going to be... I guess I didn't really think through how I was going to make these, because if I had, I would have realized that this is a terrible idea. But once these are made, I'll use them a couple times and then never use them again. So that's great. Maybe not. Maybe I guess I'll keep using them. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll keep using them. There'll be no reason to direct solder these, unless there's a real big... see, I'm not going to know. I'm not going to know if these are like dragging the performance down of the motors. Ooh, that actually came out all right. Not bad. Maybe I'll get into a groove. Oh fuck, I forgot about that. These stupid ass PVC wires. You can't use these spring loaded things because they like push. Oh, god damn it! They push through the insulation. They make the insulation all angry. Fuck. Well, let me try this. These ones are kind of stuck together already. Hey, there we go. Okay. That's not too bad. After the first one is done, the rest of these kind of like self-align in this weird way. Or not. No, they really don't. I think I just got lucky. Farts. This is ridiculous. I looked high and low for an adapter to see if like somebody else made this, because this is kind of janky. Like I don't love this, but I mean, no real other option. Yeah, that one's okay. I do want to add a little bit more solder to that, though. This is, Lawrence Martin says, honest opinion, thoughts on the Moongoat frame, please. It's a great frame, but the glide is better. You're not going to be disappointed with the Moongoat, but for half as much money, you can get the glide. Tommy and I have been friends ever since that event. I did a ton of prototype testing for him on the Acrobrat. He's a fucking awesome guy. I love him to death. The Moongoat frame is a great frame, but the glide frame is absurd. And for the money, it's just stupid. So, in a world without the glide frame, I would be flying the Moongoat frame, I think. So if you want to support Tommy, or for any other reason, the Moongoat is a great frame and you're going to love it. But, yeah. I put like maybe 20 or 30 batteries through it, and it was totally fine. It was on par with all the other frames other than the glide. So, yeah, that is my absolute dead honest opinion. You will not be disappointed by the Moongoat frame, and Tommy is a great guy to support, as is Cricket. But I'm not flying it anymore. I will. For me, it's the glide frame. So, but I in fairness, I have a pretty specific set of requirements for my frame, for the frames that I fly. They got to be able to have no props in view at 0 degree up tilt. They got to have really good motor protection. There's a whole bunch of very specific things that I look for in a frame, and if you're not going to be doing cinematic work, if you're just going to be flying freestyle, then those things don't really apply to you. I think that the Moongoat probably does a little bit better on vibrations than the glide, maybe a little bit, but the glide does absolutely fine in terms of vibration, so that's not really a selling point, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's what I will say. It is legitimately a great frame, though. Cannot take that away from it. And it's a sponsored pilot frame, so that's why it costs what it costs. The glide is not. The glide is not a sponsored pilot frame. A cut of the glide frame sales does not go to, a pilot that spent hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars, maybe not thousands of dollars, but at least hundreds of dollars, crash testing it and R&Ding it. Bob had myself and a bunch of other people that were willing to do that R&D for free. And yeah, the savings get passed along in the fact that the glide frame is $50. So, and Bob doesn't make a profit. Bob's store is a self-sustaining thing. He's a dentist. He doesn't need to make profit from FPV. He's into FPV to produce good quality products, and push the limits of what we can do. And that's very rare. I mean, there's nobody else that really does that, right? Like, there's no other frame companies that are just in it for the love of the hobby. All other frame companies are in it to, as a career. So it's a very, very unique situation, and we're very lucky. We're very, very lucky to have Bob. Straight up, like, that's pretty unique. Unique New York. So there it is. Now I just have to do that 7 more times, and the cat food alarm is going off here. Hold on. Here's some terrible stables flying. Oh yeah, and use your I have an Umagod affiliate link. Let me make sure I give you guys a good focused view of what just took me a half an hour to make. I hope that this didn't actually take me a half an hour to make. I think it did, though. Maybe it'll speed up. Maybe the logic will just never focus ever again. All right, hold on. Let me do manual focus. This is gonna, yeah, I'm gonna chop this stream after this because I don't have the patience at the moment to do any more of these. But here's what I just made. There you go. There it is. So what this will allow me to do is take the motors with the standard big connector, plug it into the female, and then now's when we get to see if I fucked anything up. Ready? And then take this annoying proprietary end and hook it up to the newbie drone board. Hopefully. Yeah! Cool. Yeah, so there we go. Now I just gotta do it 7 more times. Fuck! God damn it. Oh my god, dude. I've never looked forward to anything less in my life. Alright guys, go watch the league. I swear to god, if people don't come on the stream tomorrow and tell me that I'm the smartest person they've ever met for suggesting that they watch the league, I'm gonna kill you all. Did it really take 35 minutes? Oh, God. Oh. No. That's not true. You're a liar, you sack of shit. God damn it. Oh my god, I can't believe how long that took. God damn it. I'm gonna get caught up in chat and then I end this. 2 hours and 45 minutes, good lord, to put the Acrobrat the rest of the way back together and make one adapter. I just spit everywhere. Oh my god, I've lost it. I've finally gone off the deep end. DQ says, I hear you on pushing the tech aspect. License to Drive says, I chuckle when my Xbox warns me about excessive gameplay can disrupt my normal daily life. How do they define normal? And then Lawrence Martin asking about the Moongoat frame. Lawrence Martin, hey, if you're still here, the Moongoat frame, my well-loved 20 to 30 batteries flown Moongoat frame, will be a giveaway item on one of these upcoming Patreon giveaways. So yeah, if you'd like a shot at winning your own $100 Moongoat frame, all you got to do is jump onto CiottiFPV.com, hit the Patreon button to go over to my Patreon channel. I have 3 different tiers for bi-weekly giveaways. Every other Monday I do giveaways. There's a $5 a month tier, which is Tiny Whoop and Toothpick parts and giveaways. There is a $10 a month tier for 3-inch micro brushless stuff and Cinewoop stuff giveaways. And then there's a $20 a month tier for 5-inch parts. And yeah, the Moongoat frame is going to be one of those 5-inch tier giveaway items. Either this Monday or maybe two weeks after that. So yeah, there you go. How Jay says, thanks for the help earlier. I'm going to use the 65mm 0803 13,000 motors for cinematic training. Very cool, How Jay say. Let us know how it goes, man. Let us know how you like them. Brandon Bentley says, I got your tweet grips in Ciotti purple today. Very cool. Isn't it, like, gorgeous? Have you put them out in the sun yet? They look so good in the sun. That's it for me. Thanks for hanging out, you beautiful bastards. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com and click some buttons. Click some buttons down here. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do Thursday... Thirsty... I don't know, man. You guys choose to come here and watch. Dauntless says, how much do those things weigh? What things, Dauntless? Keep your catalytic converters safe. Here comes some flying from the stables. It's pretty bad, but, you know. What do you want from me? See you guys tomorrow! Thanks for hanging out. Love you.